troubles with herself. He was always there to help her. She always belonged to someone else. I drove 4 miles and miles and wound up at your door.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, dear respected teachers, mentors, guests, proud parents, and beloved students. Welcome to the students' individual presentation for Year 12 Culminating Project. Thank you for coming today. First and foremost, let me introduce myself. I am Ms. Imash and I will be your moderator for this session. After going through the journey of high school for the past 3 years, all Year 12 students will go through a culminating project, a mandatory project from Cikal, and as a requirement to graduate. This project also is a medium for students to demonstrate the Cikal competencies that have developed throughout the years. They chose a specific issue, investigated the needs in the community, then propose an action plan in order to solve the issue. Today, they will present their journey from the past 6 months in doing their project. Before we begin to the individual students' presentation, I would also invite Butari as the school director of Sekolah Cikal to give some forewords. Butari, the spotlight is yours.
Thank you.
I can lift you up. I can show you what you want to see and take you where you want to be. You can be.
Power the future by striving to find innovative strategies to help support the youth during the pandemic. With topics ranging from self-expression, love language, to local businesses, the students are driven by their own individuality and uniqueness to strengthen the community. It is both an insightful and heartwarming cause, knowing that the culminating project is driven by the simple act of caring. We believe that the right access and resources will empower the youth to gain confidence and fulfill their own potential. To emphasize and achieve that, these amazing students will be presenting a multitude of projects today, from podcasts about mental health, focalizing issues through art and music, self-expression, and self-motivation, and even online platforms or activities that helps promote local businesses. I can't wait to hear more about these projects, and I'm sure the parents are on the same boat. But before we continue, I would like to congratulate the students for their hard work, as well as the parents, teachers, and staff for the endless support. Their success is also your success. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Butari. Okay.
Thank you, Ines.
Yes, so true. Yeah. So the culminating project has been there. They put everything on this project. They put their time, effort, and everything. And today we would like to celebrate their journey, their project, and how they have accomplished their goal. And also they have strived their challenges while doing this project. Okay, next up, I would also like to invite Ibu Fira. Ibu Fira is the Vice Principal of Sekolah Cikal Serpong to give some opening remarks as well. Bu Fira, the spotlight is yours.
Thank you, Bu Imash. Can you hear me clearly, Bu Imash?
Perfectly, Bu.
Okay, thank you so much. Tadi ada gangguan sedikit ya. Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Honorable Principal, respected teachers, my dear Year 12 students, and a warm welcome for the parents Year 12. Welcome to Year 12 Culminating Project Sekolah Cikal Serpong 2021 and 2022. It gives me a great sense of joy to give an opening speech today for this special event, Year 12 Culminating Project. Today is all about celebrating and enjoying every process of our beloved students, mentors, and teachers that have been collaborating and organizing this project successfully. Congratulations to all of you. However, I'm sure it is not easy for the Year 12 students to manage the time between school exam and this culminating project. We could not have come to this end without the continuous cooperation, hard work, and tremendous support from mentors, teachers, and also lovely parents. We highly appreciate and express our gratitude. This year is a very special year for Sekolah Cikal Serpong because this is our first experience to have Year 12 Culminating Project, and this is also our first batch of students to complete their learning journey and will graduate from Year 12. I am sure we all here feel extremely proud of each one of you who has come and completed this stage, especially in this pandemic situation, which bring a variety of challenges in our lives. I believe the challenges that we face have made us become a better and strong individual. Congratulations to all of you for overcoming the challenge. So teachers, parents, and my dear Year 12 students, I will take leave from this screen and let you watch the experience the Year 12 Culminating Project. Congratulations once again to all of you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you so much, Bu Fira. All right, so today we have a few students of Year 12 here that will present their culminating project. Each student will have a maximum of 10 minutes, and after all the presenters are done, we will open a Q&A session for 15 minutes. The audiences here are more than welcome to ask questions to the presenters during the Q&A session using the chat room. This year's theme for the project is Empowering the Future, aiming to achieve their targeted competencies and dimensions. We see this culminating project as one of the ways to elevate the students' creativity by solving issues that they present in their CP. Well, I think that's enough to briefly explain the concept of the culminating project. And now let's get on to the presentation part. On the first session, we have here today Fikri Aleika Rahman. Hi Fikri, can you turn your camera on? Okay, we have Fikri, and then also we have Jeremy Cornelius Rajasa, or we used to call JJ. JJ, can you turn the camera on as well so the audiences can see you? All right, next up we have Keenan Avalokita Kirana. Hi Keenan. Okay, and then for last but not least, we have Laras Utami Tunggadewi. All right, so these are our 4 presenters for today's session. Yeah, we can't wait to hear about their journey. So to begin with, please give a warm welcome to our very first presenter, Fikri Aleika Rahman. Fikri, the spotlight is yours.
Thank you, Miss. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, my name is Fikri. I'm from Year 12 Cikal. Social Studies. And for today and for this year, academic year, 2021-2022, for my community project, I'm going to create, my project is a research psychological journal about companion effect towards performance. So what is the issue that I found in my daily life? I identify my issue, the problem, based on my real life experience. It's when a student tries to learn a difficult or complex topic with their base attempt and willingness, their teacher could disrupt the student's motivation to learn because the teacher could have a dispute or conflict in their home, and this could be a threat to the student's future and other school staff members. This event may not only happen in school, but also other workplaces such as office or home. When a worker in the workplace is verbally or physically abused by other workers, it could affect his or her behavior in home or outside the workplace. The toxic workplace environment could cause mental illness. This could cause a negative effect in his or her environment if there are other people or companions present. It could cause a chain effect in their home and workplace, which could lead to worse consequences and conditions. So with that problem in mind, my solution to the problem, to the issue, is to create a psychological, scientific research journal that investigate this kind of issue and conflict about companionship and self-management. So this is the hypothesis of my research journal, that the existence of companionship in home or workplace could affect the person's behavior and emotion control at work. There are three possible outcomes that could come from this research journal. For the first one, that companion can prove that people who have companion at home than the one who don't have. Basically, people who have companion at their home or workplace have much greater performance than the one who don't. For the second possible outcome, is that the data proves neither people who have or don't have companion at home affects their work, behavior, and emotion control. And for the third one, is no companion is equal to great work performance. The data proves that people who don't have companion at home have greater performance than the people who does. This is the process of my research journal and my project. For the stage one, I try to analyze my problem, understand about the theory of companionship and self-management. For the second step is to gather information, is to create a survey using quantitative research methodology, and then conduct interviews of experts using qualitative method. Step 3 is to compile the data. Compiling data from the survey and interviews. Compare results with other research data. Step 4, conclude. Conclude the research into conclusions, which is into an essay, and then determine whether the hypothesis is correct. So this is my result from my survey. This is a simplified result since the survey's actual result is actually long. So for the first one is that in my survey, there are 38 respondents who respond to my survey, and those participant age range is from 21 years old to 39 years old. So from 36 respondents, they say that companion is a useful aspect to their life. And then for the second one, half of them says that they can multitask. And then for the third one, which is all of them, they also agreed that self-management is important in both workplace and home. So this is the social circle that I got from the survey. Most respondents in my survey responds that they are there are 55.7% of the respondents say their companions are close friends. 50% of the respondents say their companion is spouse, wife, or husband. 25% of the respondents say their companion is best friend, which is a singular best friend. And then for the fourth one, only 16.7% of the respondents say their companion are family members. So this is my interview. I interviewed two experts from different job occupation. So the first interview, interview on the left is she is a lecturer. Her name is Ratih Nurani Kamaria MPSC. She is a psychology lecturer in University of Erlangga, Surabaya. And then for the right one is human resource. His name is Awis Rahmatulihari, and he worked in Asagafia Information as a human resource department. And these are the results of the interview that I got. These are mostly the result of the interview I got from the HR of Awis Rahmatulihari. Some of the results also relate and involve his occupation as a human resource in his workplace. For the second result, most of the results that are shown here are from a lecture interview result. As you can see, there are black and white picture. The white picture is the result of the interview from the HR, while the interview result of black shows the interview result from the lecture. So these are the aims of my product. Knowledge is basically to increase your knowledge of psychology and research journal. Enjoyable, since sometimes research journal or scientific research is sometimes boring, so I try to make it fun by including an interview into video, a documented video. Taking a next step, since I created an essay or a journal, research journal for my Culminating project, I tried to create a documentary video, two videos that talk about my research journal essay and the interview. And for the satisfaction is to give the viewers and watchers of my YouTube channel the benefits student. So as you can see here, this is my product, which is a YouTube video. Later then, you will see my product in my Google site, then you can see the video. So this is the expected outcome. So this is the results based from the data. The data proves that people who have companion at home have better performance than the one who don't have companion at home. So which means that my hypothesis at the beginning is correct, that people who have companions at their home or workplace that can give them social support, able to give them boost morale or spirit. These are the three Cikal competencies and dimensions that I took from the project: balance, and action-oriented and innovative. From innovative, I managed to identify problem, find the solution, and organize the plan. And for the reflection, based from my experience in this project, I found out that research journal and psychological research journal about a conflict of relationship is important to be investigated because they are sometimes a common conflict in our daily life. And for the challenge, I would say time management and procrastination is the number one challenge for me in doing this project. And this is the timeline, which is on September, on research project running. And then on the October, I did the presentation and survey. On January 2022, I did the interview and product planning. On February, I did interview and video editing. And on March, essay presentation, safety commenting projects presentation right now, Google site, and the video that you will see later in my Google site. Thank you for watching.
All right, Fikri. Thank you so much, Fikri, for your very clear presentation. With that, can we give him a virtual round of applause using the chat room? Yay! Congratulations for finishing your project and for presenting it so well. Moving on to the next presenter, please welcome Jeremy Cornelius Rajasa. JJ, you ready? All right.
Okay, hold on, let me share my screen. Is it visible?
It's loading.
Okay.
Okay, it's on.
All right. Let's begin. Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. May I introduce myself? My name is Jeremy Cornelius, and I'm in front of everyone here to present my product. So let's begin. Actually, before I begin, let me tell you all about a word that has come to my liking during these past few months. As can be seen on the screen, it's enlightenment. The action of enlightening or the state of being enlightened. I don't really like that definition, to be honest. I prefer my take on it. So, the art of educating those who misunderstand, and it can be seen from the quote on the screen. So, although the definition might seem quite different, it is actually not that far off. That is besides the point. So, swiftly moving on, we can look at the bottom of the slide and we can see the contents that I will be discussing this session. First, we have the short description. Following that, we have reason, objective, example, subject, focus. Then we'll be talking about the product, the original design, inspiration, and the final designs. And then we'll be talking about the episodes, process, competencies, future plan, reflection, and finally a thank you. So let's begin. If I remember correctly, I believe I've only shared this podcast with a select few of people, which means some of the people here don't even know anything about the project. Well, what exactly is the product? This product, which is a podcast, is one I spent 2 months perfecting. I had to redesign it. I had to fix some audio issues. I had to write a script and a lot of other tidbits that I will not mention here, although still far from perfect. And with the time provided for us to finish the product, I am quite proud with the finishing podcast. It is also worth mentioning that this podcast is an interview type podcast. Although not dissimilar to the conventional casual conversational heavy podcast, this podcast requires me to prepare questions that will be further discussed with the guest on the interview. Also, it is good to note that it is not only the listeners who will be learning throughout the podcast, I, the host, will also be learning and joining them throughout the entire episode, understanding more about the topic, which is psychology. Now, I've been talking about podcasts from before, so podcast this, podcast that, but I feel obligated to let you in on why I chose to create a podcast, as well as the theme, which is mental health being misunderstood and disregarded. So we'll start with the product first. There were actually multiple options that I could have gone for, which was presentation. I could have gone for a poster, a PSA, but of course the factor that I had to keep in mind was, would I enjoy making any of these? And no, I felt like I would have enjoyed making podcasts a lot more than the others. And in addition to that, if I remember correctly, podcasts were also very, very sought after during the time. Now it's still, but back then it was sort of something new, but not really. So I decided to take advantage of the situation. Podcast aside, let's go for the theme. Why I chose the theme? Well, I do have to tell a story in order for you all to understand. So, while I was scrolling through social media, I saw multiple negative comments and contents about mental health, about psychology, and that was really the spark I needed. And then that caused me to create a research question first, which was, why is toxicity so prominent on mental health in social media? And if I could create I think it's, what product would fit this theme a lot more. So I like talking. That's why I chose podcast. That was also another reason. So yes, moving on. This slide, to be honest, is quite unnecessary, but it is an objective, so I do have to put it in. It was already briefly stated in the beginning, which is to educate those who misunderstand the topic. And yeah, this is why it's unnecessary. We can move on immediately. So let me explain here. Unfortunately, I could not find the original videos that I came across during the start that I mentioned before, but these were close enough. I looked through Reddit, YouTube, Instagram, so TikTok. I went through multiple, but these were the only two that I could find that pretty much just filled all the categories. This was very similar. The reason why I put these is because these were very, how do I say this? I was scared that people might watch these videos online and they might misunderstand and they might see it as a people faking their disorders, and then that might cause those with real disorders be taken as a joke, and obviously we do not want that. So that's why I decided to make a podcast. So yes, these examples are taken from a subreddit and a YouTube playlist. So, okay, what is my subject focus? I've been mentioning psychology, mental health, etc. So it is quite obvious it's psychology. Why exactly did I choose it? Well, to keep it short, I want to take psychology as a major in college, and what better way to start learning about it and through CP, or in this school it's called PSE, but yeah, we'll just move on. Next, the product. So this is the point of the presentation. I'll be discussing about the product, the original design, inspiration, etc. And it will be, the product goes from quite a bit of change. So we'll start with the original designs. We'll start on the left side with the 18.12 ones here. So on the left, we have the actual design that I stuck with for a while. And the one on the right was an alternative that I did not stick with whatsoever. So yes, for quite a while, I stuck with the one on the left. I think it was for a couple weeks or a month or so, but I decided to change it. And you saw the design before and in the next slide after this. And then we'll move on to the right side, which is the original episode banner designs. On the one on top and the one on the left were the ones that were never publicly released because I felt like I could have done better. And then while I was thinking, hey, let me try change it, my sister gave an idea to 18.12 seems like a clock number. So why not make your concept revolving around the clock? And I was like, okay, let's try that. Although at first I was stubborn and didn't want to try it. I tried it. So it ended up like this, the big clock being the episode number. So if it's 4 o'clock, it's episode 4, 3 o'clock, episode 3, so on and so forth. And the smaller one is the podcast name, 18.12, which is why it's 1812. I guess it's self-explanatory. Moving on. My inspiration for the name and the logo that I have currently, that is the final design choice that I made, is very, very different from the original one. So my inspiration started and sparked when I was sitting exactly where I am right now. I had multiple ideas, English words I tested first. None of them really were good. So I decided to take a break first. I leaned down and I realized that I was under shade or my bunk bed. And I realized, okay, let's try shade. It did not work whatsoever, but I decided to translate it, and that's where we end up with berteduh. And then I'm the type of person to do the name first, then the logo. So I created the logo after the name. And that's where it is. I just made sure what the first thing people thought of when they hear berteduh. So, yeah. And then now let's talk about the final cover design. As you can see, it's very, very different from the original ones. These two are the final cover design for episode banners. The one on the left is episode 2. The one on the right is episode 1, as can be seen from the clock. And each episode, I will be doing a different design, as in doing a little bit of maybe an aquarium someday, or just maybe an actual person. Who knows? We'll see. and the final cover design is on the one on the right. But we've already seen that. So moving on to the episodes. This is episode 1. To keep it short, this episode I had a talk with school counselor Miss Anya Tierestu, and we conversed on the topic regarding mental health between adults and teenagers. And then moving on to episode 2. In this episode, I had a talk with child psychologist Samantha Elsner, and we had a discussion on the topic regarding mental health as well as the surrounding effects. I should say, I will explain why it's only 2 episodes later. So I do not want to waste any of your time here, so I'll try speed past the process part. So the beginning to planning, it was just choosing subject focus, which already said before. It was PSE psychology, and then we had to choose a theme and product, which again said before, which was mental health being disregarded and misunderstood, or psychology. Yeah, that, and the product being podcast. That was pretty much all we had to do for the. It's not really. I'll just say I didn't do my CP a lot during the first part, and then that came back to bite me in the second part, which is planning the finale. So after a long drought of CP, I started with no prior knowledge and research, so I had nothing. Although a stupid decision now, I realize it, but I didn't back then, so I just went straight to the script, no research. I wrote the questions, and I just wrote the guest list, the options. That was from January 13th to January 18th. The guest list ended up with, as heard before, Anya Tiarastu and Samantha Elsner. So by January 19th, I started inviting the guests to join the podcast, but I was only limited by 2, as I mentioned before. The recording process started at January 21st for Anya Tiarastu and at January 29th for Samantha Elsner. The editing process for both happened immediately after Sam's podcast episode finished recording. The publishing for Miss Anya Tiarastu's podcast was February 2nd. For Sam was February 6th. And on said days, I published the respective episodes. So at this point, from February to March, my product has only been promoted once, and that was as a test. And surprisingly, it is gaining stable listeners now. So I'm happy about that. So let's just move on quickly. So to Chico competencies, unfortunately, I didn't put the dimensions, but I put empowering member of just sustainable and peaceful global society. Why? It's because this project, I believe, can change certain people, but not in a major way, more in a minor way. And empowering member of this competency is all about being able to affect people locally, globally, minor, major, and I felt like that was the most perfect out of the other 5. And then we move on to future plan. As you all may know, this is our very last culminating project, and this was kind of not really spoiled. Actually, I tried to keep it low profile. I do plan to continue this culminating project even after CP is over, because it was actually a very enjoyable one, and I wanted to see where this would take me. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the future plan. I just wanted to tell you that I was bringing this to the future. And then reflection. The entire process was fun. Was it? Yes, it was. I do agree. If I was given a second chance, what would I change? I would just change a lot of things, to be honest. The amount of time I spent working on it, the result, could I have done better? Yes. But one thing that I felt like really affected me was the fact that we're doing this in a pandemic. So we're always at home and we always feel lazy. I guess that's why. And yeah, that really affected my final result. Well, anyways, I did enjoy the entire CV process. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for joining me on this journey. I'll see you all very soon. And you can see the contents below. So yeah, thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, JJ, for sharing your journey with us.
Yes.
Let's give him a virtual round of applause, everyone. Okay, next on to the next presenter, we have Keenan Avalokita Kirana, who'd like to present his journey on his culminating project. Keenan, the time is yours.
Is it visible?
It is.
Okay. Hello. Good morning, everyone. I'm Keenan Avalokita, and this is my project. There's no question that more and more of us are spending huge portions of our time online. Face-to-face relationships have become impossible due to the global pandemic, so being the social creatures that we are, we naturally develop online relationships in much the same way as we would offline. People may have gone out purposely to find the love of their lives on an online dating or chat website. Or maybe we have developed a social network of friends quite by chance through our online interactions. Whatever we are doing online and our reasons for doing it, it is inevitable that we will encounter difficulties as well as positives in our online relationships. Here's what I found. According to psychologist and counselor Susanna Smith, online relationships can give you an opportunity to meet the ones we would never have the chance to connect with before. You also have a sense of control or choice to say what you want to say, be who you want to be, and escape from roles imposed on you on the outside world. If you lack confidence, get tongue-tied, or have a stutter, being online might reduce your social anxiety and make it easier for you to express yourself. However, if you are a very physically expressive person and use gestures, eye contact, or touch to express yourself, unfortunately, this isn't an available option on the internet. You might also be surprised to find that once you meet face to face, they might be different than their online personality. Or you could be lied to and manipulated very easily, since there are no physical cues to alert us. And last but not least, there's a huge potential for misinterpretation of what people are saying and what people mean when they type. For anyone that has spent time relating online, it has become apparent that our online relationships can be sublime, but they can also be very tricky. So, are online relationships bound to succeed or doomed to fail? As a growing teenager, I also had my personal experience finding love online, and I gotta say, it's both, or to put it simply, bittersweet. You see, the cycle of my online relationships goes like this. I meet this person online, I interact with them, and once we start to click, we cultivate feelings for each other. And then we became a relationship and tried to maintain it as best as possible. And all of a sudden, we got bored and planned to meet face to face one day. However, arguments and differences came our way, and it always ended badly, at least in my experience. For this project, I wanted to share my personal experience of online relationships and show both aspects, including the gray areas. I also wanted to portray the realities of online relationships through a medium I'm most passionate about, music. I also hope to self-reflect and learn from my experience. And most importantly, I hope that people enjoy my uniquely crafted songs and get good number of streams, ideally about 100 per song. Introducing Bedroom Soliloquies, a musical journey consisting of 5 songs that are all self-composed, produced, and performed based on my personal experience in online relationships. The word soliloquy means the act of monologuing. It was made with eccentric lyrics, quirky melodies, various music styles, and spoken scenes to enhance relatability, with Indonesian singer Wizzy as a special collaboration. Here's an example of one of the spoken scenes in the mini album.
Sing song for me.
What kind of song do you want?
I'm sure you can make one.
Let me see.
Here are the titles of the 5 songs. I encourage you to listen to this album in order because each song to the next is a flowing story of relating online. I will explain them and also let you listen to the snippets. The first track, Duck Dick Duk, is inspired by every moment I fall in love with someone. Enjoy.
Suara sapi moo moo, tapi suara hatiku tetap berbeda dengan yang lain. Suara hatiku kalau bersamamu, suaranya kayak begini. Dak dik duk, dak dik duk.
The second track, Alien Boy, is about how I'm afraid to mess up in my relationship and hoping that when we finally meet, we have no issues. Have a listen.
Good night. Thank you for the joy. Love your alien boy. Boom, boom.
The third track, Kuntilanak, talks about being ghosted and ironically being visited by an actual Indonesian ghost. This song happens to be the only one written in Indonesian. I hope you like it.
Rambutnya sama hitam, gaunnya sama panjang, tapi ternyata dia kuntilanak. Kau yang ku cari bukan kuntilanak, tapi bahkan hantu sudi bertemu denganku.
The fourth track, Ivy, talks about no matter how hard you try, it's not good enough to fix the damages. This song's arrangement is quite fun.
As the ivies grew, we were never like I always knew. Still, remember the times where we caught each smile we threw. Now you're cold and bitter. I wonder what has happened to you. Please talk to me, don't leave me on read.
And the last track, Better Off Without You, talks about being heartbroken and dealing with the stages of grief. You can tell it was sung emotionally.
I'm better off without you. It's hard for me to say, but it's true. Before this I felt empty and blue, and then my heart no longer cares for us two.
Although I composed, produced, and performed these songs myself, I had help as well. Both Kuntilanak and Ivy is mixed and mastered together by Roni Sujiwo. Kuntilanak was composed together with my mom, Dewi Lestari, and also produced together with my dad, Reza Gunawan. Last but not least, I thank Wizzy for her special appearance as my partner in this project. Since it was released 2 weeks ago, I have received a number of positive and encouraging comments about this project, such as these ones. Surprisingly, until today, I have received a whopping 4,012 streams in total, which is way beyond my initial expectation. I hope people will get to enjoy it as much as I love producing it. If I were to go back in time and make this project better, there are a few things that I would improve. Time management had always been a flaw of mine, and to this day, I'm still struggling to do so. If I were to manage my time wisely, I would have mixed and mastered the rest of the tracks, since Kuntilanak and Ivy were the only ones mastered. I would have also produced it using real acoustic instruments rather than the computer sampled ones. And I would have released this to all digital streaming platforms, but I might do this in a later time. However, this project gave me a lot of things. I've learned the full cycle know-hows of music composition, production, and promotion. The songs have received positive feedback and surpassed my stream goal. I also managed to transform my pain and created something artistically meaningful. This project helped me reflect on myself and made me grow maturely. These life lessons taught me a lot, and now I'm able to enjoy a happy relationship. Once again, I'm Keenan Avalokita, and this is Bedroom Soliloquies. Give it a listen. Please scan the QR code or go to the link bit.ly/kamarkinan. I repeat, bit.ly/kamarkinan. It has been my absolute honor and joy in sharing this with all of you. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Keenan, for the very fun and clear presentation. So let's give him a virtual round of applause for sharing his journey with us. Yay! Alrighty. Last but not least, we have our fourth speaker in the first session, Laras Utami Tunggadewi. Laras, whenever you're ready.
Okay, let me just share my screen. Hold on. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right. So, good morning, teachers, mentors, students, and parents. Today, I will be explaining my culminating project, which is Outside the Lines, a short documentary asking whether or not art truly is a good coping mechanism. Before we start, I want you all to think of your coping mechanism. Would you consider your coping mechanism to be productive, avoidant, or self-destructive? I believe that by allowing yourself to default to the latter two coping mechanisms, which in this case are self-destructive and avoidant, you are bound to delay your progress of acceptance significantly, especially when you adapt yourself to those that are self-destructive. My definition of a coping mechanism is a sense of denial. You cope to distract yourself from the reality of life, one you may think that you're not able to bear, but a coping mechanism could also be a way to adapt new challenges in your life as well as cooperate with the negativities in your life. So it's not all about denial. Coping mechanisms in ways could help individuals to learn to slowly receive change well. Coping mechanisms are the strategies people often use in the face of stress and or trauma to help manage painful or difficult emotions. Coping mechanisms can help people adjust to stressful events while helping them maintain their emotional well-being. These two responses are the ones that I got via survey, and these are from anonymous respondents. My problem statement is, according to a survey conducted with a total of 60 respondents, approximately 45% describe their coping mechanisms as either avoidant or self-destructive. By centering my project around art, I can highlight its importance and versatility while simultaneously promoting it as an emotional-oriented coping mechanism that can allow you to communicate your adverse emotions without the restrictions of having to verbalize them. Note that this survey was given to a sample of people between the ages of 13 to 20, and it was not given to a niche group of people, so this includes both types of people who enjoy and do not enjoy art. This, as mentioned before, is the graph that shows the 45% of people that describes their coping mechanism as either avoidant or self-destructive. According to this, 50.8% of people would rather be alone when faced with adversity, and only 72.9% have used art as a coping mechanism. And although that is the vast majority, I would still like to heighten this percentage. My concept map for this is first find a research question. Is art really a fulfilling and effective approach to those who need an outlet to release their emotions, and to what length does the current generation enjoy the process of channeling their adverse emotions through art? And then I decided on creating a side project of giving the same group of people the same set of questions and instructions and discovering whether or not their answers or products would differ. And then my action is meet with those familiar in the field to get a more thorough understanding of this concept, such as artists and psychologists. And then after that is send out a survey, which was discussed previously, and then determine my products and my plans, and then the technicalities. It should be mentioned that I had a previous idea of what my culminating project would be. I was advised to center my project around a niche specific group, which was neurodivergence and how art therapy plays a role in their development. However, I decided against this as my level of expertise is far inferior to what it needs to be to reach that level. And even if I do meet with the right people and surround myself with the community, I would still be out of place. My research question, as mentioned before, is whether or not art is a fulfilling and effective approach to those who need an outlet, and whether or not the current generation enjoy doing it. According to Mutia Ribawa, the founder of Art Therapy Jakarta, sometimes we cannot describe things in words. We cannot communicate verbally, especially when we lack the words to express ourselves. Art being a universal language, it helps us tell our stories, guide others, understand ourselves without having the restrictions of having to communicate it verbally. And this is my journey of planning the efforts and the publication of my final product, Outside the Lines, a short documentary. First, I need to explain the Venus Journal. The Venus Journal is the final platform I decided to publish my final product. It is a art-oriented organization that I founded with a few of my associates and my friends. And the months of December and January were dedicated to the issue of self-expression and coping with art. And each piece of content that was put out during this time was related to this topic. And people were allowed to submit what seemed to them as a relevant piece of art to the issue, which in this case was self-expression and coping with art. These are the pieces of content we released during those 2 months. As you can see, everything is art related and nothing goes out of the box. And this is my timeline. So early October and November of 2021, I started planning, contacting and interviewing the potential candidates for my interviews. And first I drafted some interview questions and draft some emails to send to experts such as Mutia Ribawa and Rachel Ajing, which are the final 2 people that I used for my project. As you can see on the right, it is a social media team plan document. And this is the amount of tasks that they had in order for my project to be successful. And yes, these are just random screenshots of the documents and surveys and interviews that I conducted during this time. December and January was the month of meetings and collecting artworks and videos from participants. So a side project that I conducted in order for my culminating project to be successful was collect artworks and video diaries from 6 young talented artists. And they answered questions, the same questions as the experts did. And the main intention behind why I conducted this was to get a more relevant and bare perspective on this topic. And as you can see, there are artworks in the middle. Those are 2 of the 6 artworks that were collected during this project. And on the right, you can see the participants. And on the left, you can see the meetings with the team. And then March 2022, which was this month, was the month of collecting footage, editing, and publishing. So it took me around a total of a week to finalize my product and edit it and publish it. And even though that I had 6 months to complete this whole entire project, I managed to publish my final product days before the deadline. And in the bottom, you can see a feedback form that I sent out after the publication of my video, and the results will be discussed later on. This is the TBJ art project. So as you can see, these are 3 of the 5 art projects that were sent back to us. And these are the latter 2. They are nothing short of amazing, and I would definitely recommend you guys to make a piece of art that reflects your inner emotions and self-expression, so you guys can make art without restrictions. This is some screenshots of my final product. It is a short documentary that has been overlaid with my own graphics so I can incorporate my own art style and for it to come full circle. It features Rachel Ajing, the co-founder of Art Camp ID, and Mutia Ribawa, the co-founder of Art Therapy Jakarta, as well as the 6 participants that I mentioned before. This is the responses and feedback that I received via the feedback form and Instagram comments. As you can see, the majority are positive, and there are little to no constructive criticisms that could make my video better. I believe that I have achieved 2 out of the 5 Cikal competencies with this project. The first one being emotionally, spiritually, and morally rich, because this project is a product of community engagement. it wouldn't have been possible without the efforts of countless people besides myself, as well as I managed to manage my time, as this fell into the same time frame as university admissions, and I still managed to push through all the overbearing stress and complete my tasks and goals using sudden bursts of productivity. And then the other one is self-regulated learner. I remain committed to my culminating project throughout the past 6 months, and I managed to get through the adversity that I went through throughout this project. So reflection. In comparison to previous semesters, this one challenged me the most. I had to learn to prioritize my responsibilities while sticking to a tight schedule. University admissions and exams fell into the same period of time as CP, and because of that, I found myself to be at a disadvantage, as I had to prioritize university regardless of the number of loose ends I had with school. Even though I had completed a significant amount of my CP during the months of October to December, procrastination and the lack of motivation because of split priorities is what made it difficult. Nevertheless, I found myself pushing through it all, completing all of my missing assignments moments before the due date, working off sudden bursts of productivity. This whole experience has allowed me to learn more about my work ethic and grow my passion for what I do. Because of Outside the Lines, I am able to identify my innermost thoughts and be able to express and communicate my feelings without having the restrictions of needing to verbalize them. This project has taught me to be self-reliant, responsible, and professional, 3 traits that would have taken me a significant amount of time otherwise. And then my goals. Did I achieve them? What could have been better? So Outside the Lines in its entirety is a community project that encourages people to make art regardless of how good or bad they think they are at the medium. It encourages people to go against avoidant or self-destructive coping tendencies and use art as an alternative. I think I achieved my goal, as my goal to begin with was to bring people together with art, and I believe that this project over the past half year has done just that. Scan this QR code to go to my video or head over to the Venus Journal on Instagram. Thank you. This is dedicated to my partner Luna and my mentor Miss Anya. It couldn't have been achieved without them.
Okay, thank you so much, Laras, for sharing your journey. Please give her a virtual round of applause. And with all that, all the presenters have done presenting their journey. Can everyone open the screen again? All right. Okay, for this, I received lots of words of encouragement through the YouTube chat, or such as from Ibu Rati, good luck for all year 12, and good luck for year 12 students, wash hands. Dan selamat pagi year 12, sukses untuk CP Talk and exhibitionnya hari ini. So, and then I can also see lots of encouragement regarding your projects ya, pada NASA sangat keren projectnya. Alright, so with all that remarks of the end of the first session. As the first session Q&A, you guys can head up to our exhibition later at 1:30. And also after this, don't go anywhere. We still have lots of sessions going on Sekolah Cikal official YouTube channel for other talk. And as I said earlier, the Culminating project event doesn't stop here now, because we all are hoping to see you today again at 1:30 for the exhibition of Culminating project year 12. Again, you can see the exhibition or you can stream the exhibition on the YouTube channel of Sekolah Cikal official. Lastly, I would like to say thank you one more time to all of the audience here today, the mentors, fellow students, proud parents, and everyone. Thank you for having me as your host. Good morning and see you in the next session. Bye.
I can lift you up. I can show you